Jack Canfield's Breakthroughs to Success home study course now continues. Enjoy.
Please help me welcome the king of release, Hale Dwoskin.
Thank you. I'm telling you, I'm accumulating a list of names. Elf and King so far. This. Maybe I should combine them. The Elf King. Okay, I'll be doing that anyway. Yes? I don't actually have a tape of just the laugh, but the laughter is on some of the tapes. Yeah, it is. So, what we'll be doing together today is we'll be taking what we've done yesterday to the next level. And I do want to start. I've gotten so many questions about this. I just want to answer this up front. And a lot of people say, well, what could you possibly do for 7 days? And I guess I'm making it seem too easy. But so I'll be more specific. So for those of you who can't imagine just laughing for 7 days in a row and what that might do to your life, I'll give you some more specifics. Now, obviously, we'll be doing lots of this. But actually, what we do is we start the training the first night. There are two things that we do. The first night's assignment is to set your goals and intentions for the week. And the second one is to make a list of the problems you used to believe you had. And so we start out and we hold that perspective all week. And what happens is, by the end of the week, many of the problems that you came in really seriously convinced you had, you can't find them anymore. They actually cease to exist in your awareness, and they don't come back just because you put yourself back in your everyday awareness. And the way we do this is, first of all, after I'm done giving this little explanation, we're going to do a longer process. All the processes we did yesterday were just designed to start helping you move in this direction of letting go. But I'm going to combine some of the tools we covered yesterday and do a slightly longer process. And we do more longer processes in the retreat because when there's a momentum that happens when you do this work. A lot of you noticed that you're a little lighter this morning than you were yesterday. Especially those of you who've, I literally have had a hard time just walking through the halls because people keep saying, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and you only got 2 hours worth of an introduction. You haven't even gotten everything that's on the audio programs. Obviously, it can only cover some of that in a format like this. But what happens is, as we do this work, we focus on helping you. Oh, sure. Find glasses. That was easy. Sometimes it's as simple as that. But the other thing is, what you do is, by letting go of all your imagined barriers to creating what it is you want, people actually literally come in whatever state they're in, and they leave in a completely different place. what happens is you not only shed limitation, but at the same time, a lot of you noticed, even when we did this together, a lot of you noticed not only did you let go, but you became more aware of that which needs no letting go. And a lot of you have been getting more and more of a sense of that as you've been experimenting with this work and as we've been working together. But one of the other things that happens is generally on a 7-day retreat, most people have at least one, if not more than one, awakening type experience where they really stop seeking. Some never start again, but some at least get the taste of what it's like to actually stop seeking anything, including enlightenment. And the other thing is, because we stick with the perspective the entire 7 days of you are not your problems and you're not even your body or your mind, it gets in deep enough so it starts a process of unraveling that continues long after the retreat is over. And so it creates more of what you want in life. It helps you get rid of all the things you don't want in life, and you discover that which has nothing to do with living, but allows for all living to happen. And we do, there's some lecture or talking, and there's some me working with individuals in the whole group, but a lot of it is done in partnerships where you're supporting each other in this process. And so you also come away with developing a facility for doing this, starting to do this with other people. And also after every 7-day retreat, we also have a 3-day facilitator training. That's optional. It's something you can add on even once you're there. Generally, they start out, maybe we have 50 people registered, and by the time the retreat's over, there's 100 people registered for the 3-day seminar that starts a day later. Because a lot of people, our facilitator trainings are for anyone who wants to help anyone get freer, and they want to incorporate this into the work. The only thing you can't do from one of our 3-day facilitator trainings is teach this in front of a room. You can teach this one-on-one and work with people one-on-one, but the training to do this in front of a room is a much more involved process. And so hopefully that answered the question of what we could do for 7 days together. So let's do a longer process. So allow yourself to focus inside. And could you start out by simply allowing yourself to be? Now, if you're trying to do something in order to do that, that's not it. If you, even for a moment, stop trying to do anything, beingness becomes more obvious to itself. And could you allow yourself to welcome whatever is being heard in this moment? The sound of my voice, the sound of the air conditioning, the sounds coming from the kitchen, and whatever inner sounds you're generating all on your own. And could you also welcome the silence that allows for all hearing? And could you also welcome whatever is being felt in this moment? The sensation of your feet touching the floor, your hands touching whatever they're touching, the sensation of your clothing, the sensation of your chest rising and falling as you breathe. The air caressing your skin. And could you also welcome whatever emotional content you bring to all that? And then could you allow your sense of welcoming to expand to include the emptiness or the space or the isness in which all sensations appear and disappear. And could you expand your welcoming even more to include whatever you're seeing in this moment? Seeing is going on even with your eyes closed. Sometimes they're very vivid pictures, and other times they're very subtle, or simply patterns of light and darkness and color. So could you just allow yourself to welcome whatever is being seen in this moment? And could you also welcome the emptiness, the space, the nothing that allows for all seeing? And then could you allow yourself to remember who you used to be? The person that bears your name. And see if there's anything about that person that you'd like to change. And if so, just for now, could you let go of wanting to change that? And focus again on the memory of the person that you used to be. And remember, used to is anything but in this moment. And see if there's something about that person that in this moment you'd be willing to accept. And if so, could you allow yourself to relax into that feeling of acceptance? Could you welcome it as best you can? And find something else about the person that you used to be that you'd like to change, that you wish were different, improved, or eliminated in some way. And just for now, could you let go of wanting to change that? And then as best you can, could you allow yourself to find something else about that person that you used to be that you'd be willing to accept? Even just a little. And then could you relax into or welcome that feeling of acceptance as best you can? And again, check to see if there's anything else about the person that you used to believe you were, that you'd like to change, that you wish were different in any way. And just for now, could you let go of wanting to change that? And again, allow yourself to focus on something, even if it's a small thing, about the person that you used to believe you were, that in this moment you'd be willing to accept. And could you allow yourself to relax into that acceptance, to welcome it as best you can? And then could you allow yourself to picture the person you will be 3 years from now, after you've incorporated everything you've been learning this week? So I'll give you just a moment or two to do that as best you can. And remember, it may be visual, it may be auditory, or it may be a feeling sense. But as best you can, could you welcome or embrace the person you're becoming? The person you're creating in this moment? And then check to see if there's anything inside of you that's holding back, that's resisting, that's not simply fully allowing yourself to fully engage in that creation. And if so, could you simply set that free? Could you let it go as best you can? And again, picture yourself creating all your goals, all your intentions. You don't even need to know how it's going to happen. just as best you can, see it as already having happened. And then check to see if there's anything at all inside of you that has the brakes on, that's being reasonable, that's wanting to figure it out, that's holding back in any way. And if so, could you just simply let that dissolve? Could you let it go as best you can? And could you allow yourself again to welcome or imagine or picture all your goals and intentions having already been created? What does that look like? What does that feel like? What does it sound like? And then again, if you're holding on or holding back in any way, if your mind is giving you any yes buts, could you just set that free? Let that go as best you can. And could you welcome all good things in life? Could you welcome creating all that you choose? And could you picture it as best you can, having been already accomplished? Remember, always do this as best you can. And then could you simply welcome and accept at least the possibility that it has already been accomplished, at least in consciousness? Again, could you simply allow yourself to accept as best you can that it has already been accomplished, at least at the level of awareness? And now that this has already been accomplished, could you just simply rest? Knowing that all is well and everything is unfolding as it should be, as it is. And while allowing yourself to remain at rest, gradually allow awareness to expand to include what you believe is external to you. And then whenever it's ready to, if it hasn't already, allow it to open those eyelids. And as it does, notice the beauty that looks out through those eyes. So do you think you could tolerate a week of doing things like that? So, we have a hand in the back. Can you pass the microphone?
My name is Chidi,
Hi.
from Nigeria. My question is this. When you say you stop seeking, what do you really mean?
Oh, in my experience, all efforting to be is a denial of that which you already are. And what most of us do, I'm not wearing a name tag, but if I was wearing one of those name tags, it would be like looking around the room for my name tag while I'm wearing it. Most of us are doing this. I wonder where I am. I wonder who I am. I wonder what the truth is. I wonder where it is. It's got to be out here somewhere. But all the while, we are already whole, complete, and perfect at our core. And as you get a sense of that, the seeking for that drops away. Because once you recognize you already are that which you're seeking, the seeking becomes extra.
So now, let me ask this. What's the
Okay.
We've been taking in so much.
Say again?
I said, we've been taking in so much into our system in the last 4 or 5 days.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
And like yesterday, I didn't sleep. Had so much going on in my mind. And
Yes.
And in that situation, how do you really let it go?
Well, would you like to change? Your mind has gotten so busy.
I don't know.
Well, do you like all that noise?
No.
Okay, so anytime you don't like something, you want it to be different than the way it is, right? So just for this moment, could you let go of wanting to change it? Just for now. Good. And notice what happened inside when you did that. The mind got quiet, the body got relaxed, and you feel more integrated now about everything you just heard about. See, the wonderful thing about the Sedona method, Jack and John Gray and literally hundreds of other people in this field have invited me in various ways to share this with the people that they're talking to, because if you get yourself out of the way, then you can do something about your success. If you get yourself out of the way, you can have the perfect relationship. If you get all the problems out of the way, you can actually enjoy life and be present with whatever's showing up in this moment. And that's what the method does, quickly and easily.
I'm not yet.
Go ahead, what's that? No, but of course, here's the thing, remember, I compressed as much as I could. We'll be together for maybe another hour this morning, so I'm going to cover as much as I can of this material. But obviously, I'm just scratching the surface. I've been doing this for almost 30 years. I've trained, there are hundreds of thousands of people doing it all over the planet. And I know many of them who have been doing it for many years, because what happens is, it's the Lester Levinson, the man I spoke about yesterday morning, he called this the bottoms-up method. What happens as you do this process, what used to be a peak becomes a valley. And the trip, you know how life looks like this? Life, as you do the method, life starts to look like this. off into infinity. Not just on a feeling level, but with whatever it is you want to create in life. And it also allows you to feel complete and whole every step along the way. Most of us tell ourselves, I'm not going to be happy until. I'm not going to be relaxed until. I'm not going to be complete until. We could spend the entire morning just working on that because of how much we're postponing that which is always available to us every moment. And when you bring happiness into a relationship instead of trying to get happiness from it, it's a very different experience. When you bring happiness to the new car, as opposed to hoping the new car is going to make you happy, the joy from the new car doesn't wear off after a week. When you bring happiness to having $1 million in the bank, as opposed to waiting to get happy until you accomplish it, it makes every step along the way a lot easier. So does that make a little more sense now?
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. All the way in the back.
Can I ask you about the physiological changes that
You
occur?
just did.
By the way, my name is Deborah Flans.
Hi, Deborah.
When we started, I really felt tension
Yes.
in my gut. And
Yes.
then I felt it raise up into my stomach.
Uh-huh.
And then, when you said, can you feel again? It went back down. It started to dissipate.
Right.
And it got lighter, and I was curious what's going on a physiological basis.
Okay, so what happens is this body is not just flesh and bones. This body is an energy system. Most of you have had direct experience of that. And there's a lot of, especially Eastern, information about that. What I found is that when people do this work, it clears out all the energy pathways. Both the meridians having to do with the acupuncture meridians, but also the pathways that block your awareness from moving up your spine. All that clears out. Plus, the simple things is if you have any kind of trauma from any time in the past that you're carrying. Now, we carry trauma in our body in two ways. One, from actual events that happen to the body. But most of us carry a lot more trauma in the body based on all the events that we're still doing this about. Remember this from yesterday? This is really hard on the body. The body likes moving more than just in a circle around one particular spot. So all that drops away naturally as you do this process. And again, even though we've never treated, diagnosed, cured, or advised about any kind of physical condition, we have literally filing cabinets full of testimonials from people who had incurable physical problems that completely disappeared. In fact, one of the common things that I've been hearing in the halls is, I had this pain, or I had this tension, or I had this headache, or and most of you probably had them long, and everyone who's come up to me, it wasn't just the pain of the moment, it was, I have, what was some of them? Oh, I damaged my back, that's why it's always felt that way, and so what? It doesn't have to feel that way. Or I had arthritis, and that's why I've always been in pain, or I had migraines, or whatever it is. Most of us have a really good story about why we're holding that in our body. But when you let the story go and you let the feelings go, the body knows what to do. Yes, right there.
Me from Maryland.
Yes.
What's your method based on? I feel like sometimes it's like it's based upon Hinduism, and sometimes it feels like it's the Buddhism, and also at times, it has a hint of mysticism and Sufism. If you read poetry from Rumi, poet from the 13th century, he says that the same things. I mean,
Yes, yes. Well, two things. First of all, the Sedona method is unique in that it's not based on anything, except the direct experience of what Lester brought to it and that what I brought to it since then. And I only teach that which I directly experience. If I can't prove it if I haven't already proved it for myself, I don't talk about it. But the interesting thing is, when you go to any teacher or you go to anyone who's teaching anything, two things about that. First of all, when it comes to spirituality, there are many rays that lead to the one sun. Although I know that's the expression, but it's really many rays come from the one sun. I don't know why everyone always says lead to the one sun, but that's the way it is. But so you'll find a lot of similarities, not so much in what we do, but what the result that produces inside of you as whatever other spiritual practice you're doing. Whether you're a devout Christian, a devout Hindu, a devout Buddhist, a devout Jain, if you're devoutly Jewish, what I find is that whatever your belief system is, it turns from belief to direct experience. Would you rather believe you can have anything you want, or would you rather simply have it? Would you rather believe that you're whole and complete and perfect as you are, or would you rather have that be your living, breathing, every moment experience? So we actually never, in fact, I didn't say this yet, but in my longer seminars, I always say this repeatedly: please don't believe anything I say. Anything. In fact, everything I've said so far is a lie. And what I mean by that is not that it's not true from a relative level, but the topic we're speaking about can only be, all words are just pointers towards an experience. And often what we do is, most of us do, we go through life treating the map as though it's the territory, gnawing on the plastic menu instead of having the meal. And so everything we do in all our trainings and all our audio programs is designed to do is get the plastic out of your mouth and help you to directly experience, without any belief at all, what is possible, both on a purely physical level, creating better relationships, more money, better health, etc., and on the deep inner level. And the result, though, is universal. Over here. Can I get some water? Oh, underneath the table, I've told there's water, right? Nope. Oh, in the back? It's a treasure hunt. Oh, here we go. Never mind. I'm set.
My name is Mary.
Oh, yes, special treatment. Yes.
Yesterday, I would say I'd been apprehensive about driving over the overpass, but I was able to, and anyone that knows me knows this, and why I hadn't been able to release it before, I don't know. Maybe because I hadn't beaten the hell out of a chair, but
Right.
I was able to release the pain. I was really apprehensive about sitting 7 days in a seminar,
Right.
And being able to deal with. I've seen neurologists, neurosurgeons taking Neurontin and couldn't release. And really, last night, it's not there.
Right.
So I didn't realize that it wasn't there until I was thinking, it's not there. I've worn out clothes trying to get past this pain.
Right.
And I will be at your training.
Okay.
To resume listening to this course on audio CD, please go to CD number 25.
My name is Joanne, and Hale, thank you for being here. I'm really enjoying this. It's been very beneficial, but I thought I'd stand up as a recovering control freak. And for those in the room who are conscious control freaks and those that are still in denial, with the holistic approach to the Sedona method,
Yes.
we work with dualities.
Yes.
And of course, the duality of control is letting go. So how do you use a letting go process to work with the duality when you can't let go in the first place?
Okay. Two things.
Yes.
First of all, I know there are a lot of people who actually want to share what they've gotten so far, and we'll have time for that, but I want to also insert some more process. So this is a good time to do that.
That would be wonderful.
Okay.
Wonderful.
So, first of all, what I found, and what, again, hundreds of thousands of people have found as they do this, is that our wanting to control is a feeling of being out of control. And so if you're willing to let go of wanting to control, you feel more and more in control. Part of the reason we feel out of control is that life is not static. It's a good analogy is it's like a river, and it's going in the direction it's going in. And the current is actually carrying you exactly where you need to be every moment. But what most of us are doing from our desire to control is we're kicking and screaming furiously trying to swim against the current. And when we do that, it takes a tremendous toll on our bodies and our minds, and it prevents us from creating what we want. But what we've discovered is if you allow yourself to let go of wanting to control, you discover that the whole universe is there trying to support you in what's right for you. So let's do a process around that. So I'm going to first work on it in general, and then, not that anyone in this room has ever done this, but one of the places we get stuck, especially those of us who do this type of work, whether we come to seminars just as participants, or as a lot of you are, you lead seminars, or you speak, or you coach, or you do something to try to help others. One of the hooks we fall into when we're doing this is wanting to control others' experience. I heard that. The problem with wanting to control someone else's experience is if you're trying to get them to do something and you're pushing, what do? Right. But if you're simply requesting they do something where you're okay whether they do it or not, and this, by the way, is also great for parents. Parents are supposed to be in charge. However, they don't feel that way most of the time. They feel the exact opposite. But that's based on our wanting to control. So as you let that go, you feel more and more in control. You stop reacting. You become proactive. So allow yourself to think of something in your life where you're wanting to control, where you're swimming. We don't need to dim the lights. Unless, of course, we do. I guess we needed to, and then we need to have them back up again. But thanks for the assistance. But anyway, allow yourself to focus on something in your life that you're wanting to control, besides the lights. And just for now, could you let go of wanting to control it? Can you feel what a burden it is to feel like you have to control everything? And for a second, could you put that burden down and be open at least to the possibility that the power that knows the way, the power that raises and lowers your chest and beats your heart and blows the wind through the trees and brings light through the light fixtures and turns the earth, might actually be able to be of some assistance in your life if you get out of the way. So, just for now, could you let go of that desire or that wanting to control? And again, focus on that same thing or anything else in your life that you've been wanting to control. Where you haven't been able to trust that power that is or knows the way. And just for now, could you let go of wanting to control that? Could you just set that free? Could you accept at least the remotest possibility that God or Goddess doesn't need your help? And again, focus on that same thing or anything else in your life right now that you've been wanting to control. And just for now, could you let go of wanting to control it? And specifically focus on a person whose experience you've been wanting to control. And notice how much they've enjoyed that. And just for now, could you let go of wanting to control that person's experience? Could you accept at least the possibility that God or Goddess or the power that knows the way actually operates more than just through you? It might actually have a little spare time and energy to help those that you've been wanting to control. And focus on that again. Focus on that same person or someone else that you've been wanting to control. And by the way, you can include yourself in this. One of your favorite pastimes is wanting to control yourself. And just for now, could you let go of wanting to control? Remember, I'm not saying could you let go of control. Could you let go of wanting control? The feeling that you lack it. And let's just do that one more time. Focus on a person, a place, a thing, an attitude, anything that you've been wanting to control. And just for now, could you let go of wanting to control? Okay, great. Thanks for requesting that. So, there was quite a few hands. Art, right here in the front.
Hello. Hi, Hale.
Hello.
At breakfast this morning, I asked you a question about some anger I had.
Yes.
And during this last process, the one before this one,
Yes.
I was able to let it go, and I feel much better. So thank
Great.
you for that. But since you're not small enough to fit in my pocket, how do I do this without you?
Well, every tool that we've covered so far and that we will cover for the remaining time I have is something that you can do yourself by simply asking yourself at first the same questions. So if you were able to do it here, I know you can do it in your life as well. So I would just practice what we've been doing. Now, if it's not always available to you, if it's not always easy, most of you are determined to make this difficult. And most of you will succeed from time to time at making it difficult. But if you've gotten successful at making it difficult at the moment, simply take a step back and ask yourself, would I like to change how difficult I've made my life or I've made this process? And let go of wanting to change it. That will get you right back on track.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh. Right here. Oh, there's someone behind you.
Hello, I'm Ed from St. Louis.
Hi, Ed.
How can I use these processes with children?
With children. Okay, great. So, two things with children. The first and most important thing with children is to do it yourself. If you're... Children model after who you are and what you do, not what you say. So if you're getting into the habit of letting go, they do it naturally. So they'll go right with you and do it. The other thing is, everything in our seminars, everything we've done so far, everything on the DVD, in the books, and the audio programs, it's all appropriate for children. The only thing I would recommend is that you make it into a game, as opposed to, okay, now we're going to sit down and we're going to process. There was a therapist who came to a training I did in London, and what he did is, it's a very cute story. He had one of the things he did is he worked with children, and it's especially difficult children who are struggling in school. And there was one a student came to him who said, who was getting really poor grades, especially with one particular teacher. So what he did is he had the student grade his teachers. And the one he was struggling with the most got the lowest grade. And they said, I'm going to give you a little secret tool you can use to help deal with this particular teacher. And he said, and I don't want you to tell anyone you're doing this. It's just a secret between you and me. Whenever the teacher does something you don't like, let go of wanting to change it. So he saw the student again about 3 weeks later, and he went through the process again of grading, and all the teachers got much higher grades, especially this one instructor. He got way better, and the student said to him, you know, it's amazing. I've been doing this not only on my teachers, but on my friends, and they're all changing. And maybe some of that's actually objectively true. In other words, they changed, because also it takes two to create any kind of dynamic. And so one of the things some of you may be concerned about, what if I do this and my husband or wife or the person I'm in a relationship with doesn't want to go in this direction? What I found is even if just one person starts to shift, it helps both. And it creates the space for people to come in this direction. But so I'm sure the teacher may have actually started treating him differently. But also, because he let go of wanting to change it, he saw the student totally differently. And the end of the story is that the student is turned into an A student, and he was barely passing. So that's just one example. You're welcome. Oh, over here. Okay, great. And then behind you.
I'm Thomas Michaud from Almeda, California. That first process we did, I had for a brief moment an experience of being home.
Yes.
And it brought back memories of ever since childhood, longing for that
Yes.
experience. And being able to relax and not try to be in the world.
Right.
To do.
Right.
It was a great experience.
Yes.
I'm hoping I can recreate it.
What's that?
I'm hoping I can recreate it.
Yeah, I'm sure you can. Because again, home is where you always are.
Hi, I'm Deanna Davis from Spokane, Washington.
Hi.
Thank you. This is very powerful stuff. The question that I have is, yesterday when we were doing some of the visual work, where I had a headache for 4 days, and I was visualizing the space around the headache and that kind of thing, and I was able to release it, no problem.
Uh-huh.
What I struggle with is when we're doing, because I'm a words person, I'm a speaker, and I'm a
Yes,
writer.
yes. Uh-huh.
When we go through the process of saying, could you release it, would you release it, I have an entire internal dialogue that goes.
Right.
I was working on my
I
daughter's.
don't know.
My daughter's eating disorder.
Maybe I will.
That's it. 'Cause it
No,
was
I
like, well,
understand.
could you release your need to change her eating disorder? It's like, well, I could if I decided that I really wanted to. And then would you do it? Well, I would if the conditions were right and if I felt like I'd done everything I could. And
Sound familiar?
so I go on and on and on, and so I thought, okay, well, I just need to release the need to change whether or not I'm doing that. And it's like,
Right.
okay, well, you could release the need to change it if you really felt like it. So, what are some tips for being able to release the conversation?
Well, first of all, are you resisting the conversation in your head?
I think I am. Yes.
So just for now, could you let go of resisting it? Just for now.
Yes. It takes me back into it.
That's okay.
Okay.
Could you just do that again? Could you simply let go of resisting the conversation in your head?
Yes. And I try and follow up with more conversation.
That's okay.
Because he keeps coming to me, yes, that's a really good idea.
Right.
Release it.
No, I understand. That what you'll find, Deanne, is that as you do this process, the mind right now is trying. Most of your minds, have you noticed, are trying to be helpful. Some more than others.
But it's very affirming. It's very affirming. It's like, you're doing a good job. Keep going.
By the way, it's not always that pleasant.
I'm an optimist.
Yes, someone's going, if you let go, if he asks that, could you, would you, when, one more time, and you answer, that's it. But one of the things, if you look inside, not just you, but everyone, if you look inside about the level of noise in your mind at the moment compared to where it was yesterday, most of you probably notice it's a lot quieter. And I just want to point something out. As far as process is concerned, we've done less than an hour worth of the Sedona method. Get a sense again, 7 days in a row of doing it? Because we do less talking and more process. Because I'm explaining a lot here, I have to explain less in a seminar because everyone's read the book or listened to the audio program. So a lot of it is just the basic explanation of how and why this works. But as you let go, the mind gets more and more quiet. Now, does that get in the way of speaking? Do I look like I'm struggling speaking? The book is, I've actually written 6 books. I wrote a series of 5 books called Happiness is Free and It's Easier Than You Think in 6 weeks. When your mind is silent, it's a lot easier to get things done.
So is it that you simply just keep asking that
Yes,
question and the
you
space
just,
between will?
Yes, the space between the thoughts gets bigger and bigger.
Okay.
And the thoughts that remain get more and more constructive.
I think the image of letting the space increase, I think that'll help me a lot.
Oh, yes, it's a really good one for you.
Thank you very
Great,
much.
terrific. Actually, I saw her hand first, then you'll be next, and then I'll turn my head so I can see some people over here.
Hi, I'm Christine. Hi, I'm Christine Comerford. It's so funny because I raised my hand going, oh, I hope he doesn't pick me. And then I'm like,
Never mind. Here, give the microphone. No, I'm serious.
but then why am I raising my hand? Anyway, so my challenge is, you know, I'm listening to all this stuff, and I'm going, okay, this is cool, but my situation is special.
Oh, yeah.
And what I want to release really badly, part of me does, the other part is like, no.
Right.
Is that I'm having a challenge with this person where I feel like, well, my husband, I'll just say it, and I feel like I'm like really close to all I can do is divorce, because I never know when something's going to come out of left field.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
So,
Sit down for a second, but keep the microphone. I want to show you a technique I haven't shown yet. Right now, could you simply welcome the emotion that's coming to the surface? And by the way, please feel free to join in on this. I'm going to work directly with her, but just feel free to join in. And could you start out by just simply welcoming that feeling as best you can? You don't have to answer me. Okay, good. And then could you allow yourself to dive into the very core of the feeling? Deeper than the thoughts, deeper than the memories and the pictures, even deeper than the sensations. That's it. And just a touch deeper than that. Just a little deeper. That's it. Okay. And how does it feel now?
deep.
What's that?
Deep. It just feels like, that's the only word I can think of.
Say again?
It just feels like really deep.
Right.
That's all I can think of.
Okay. Do you notice how quiet it is in there?
Yes.
And peaceful?
Yes.
Okay. That's what's at the core of every feeling. That is who you are, no matter what is going on the surface. So what you can do is, when you're getting buffeted about by life, you can simply go deeper, and everything on the surface just dissolves. Remember I mentioned it all has as much substance as a soap bubble? If you dive into the core of any emotion, you experience that directly. But let me also speak to the situation. When you let go, it doesn't mean you necessarily will stay in a situation that's no longer mutual. This actually question came up last year too. Sometimes we tell ourselves, if I was really evolved, or whatever, you probably have your own unique story, then I should be able to make this work. And yes, that may be true, but it also, sometimes it's not true. There was a teacher named Papaji in India who, a bunch of he was going to be interviewed on television about a whole series of topics, and he was going through do I have 10 minutes? Okay, good. I'll tell the story and then I'll wrap up. By the way, I'll be here up until the lunch break. So if you want to take me aside and ask me questions, I'll be here for that. But anyway, so what happened is, the one question was, there was this man who lived above a very noisy store. I think it was a mechanic shop, and it was noisy, and this is India, so they worked from really early in the morning to really late at night, and he was really having a hard time meditating. And so all the students came up with all these great ideas, you know, putting earplugs in and just going deeper in the meditation, and all these stories about what to do about it. And so they were gathered around the television, wondering what Papaji would say about what to do about this problem. And exactly, when it got to his question, they were expecting this long, very spiritual answer. The interviewer asked him the question, and Papaji just simply said, "Move." When in life, as you let go, what you find you'll do is act more appropriately, whatever that is. And sometimes that means stopping doing something that's no longer supportive. And that's completely okay. And it doesn't mean you failed or did something wrong or anything like that. On the other hand, what I've seen is if there's still some mutuality between people, if even one starts to let go, I've seen relationships that everyone thought were going to end completely turn around and become beautiful. But it's really a question of just honoring your own process and making sure that you're doing what's right for you. Okay? Oh, right here.
Hi, I'm Sarah from Pasadena, California. And I just wanted to say that this whole experience has been like jumping on a trampoline. Like just pure jumping on a trampoline joy.
Oh, great.
It's been
Thanks.
fun.
Right here. You can
Hi.
do that.
My name's Lorraine. My question is for things health issues that people have from birth, say something like cystic fibrosis, those type of things, is there anything that the Sedona method can do to help with that?
There was a woman who was here last year who had cerebral palsy, and she was told she'd never walk. And she got up on the stage and danced. What? It was incredible. Yeah, it was incredible. But anyway, you have that on your DVD. Yes, right there.
Yes, night before last, my husband told me for the first time in the 15 years we've been married that he loved me. I couldn't handle it. So, yesterday morning, as long as we were talking, it was okay to hug. As soon as we stopped talking and people were looking me in the eyes, I hid in the corner because I couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, of this, I'm not lovable.
Yes, of course.
Because he had never told me he loved me. Last night, he told me again. He said, "I love you again." And it felt so good that yesterday we did some work on me not being loved because I couldn't handle it back there in the back. And by clearing that out, when he said that last night, it was great. And today I was able to hug people, and it was great. So thank you so much for all your help.
I know there's a lot more that we could share, but Jack also has some wonderful material to share. So let me just wrap this up and just say a couple more things. First of all, to summarize everything we've been doing, is feelings are just feelings. They're not facts. and they're not you, and you can let them go. And by recognizing this and just doing the work that we did here, you'll find that that's life-changing in a very dramatic way. And if you allow yourself to incorporate everything we've been doing together into your life, even just a small percentage will make a huge, huge difference. And also, by the way, we do have, I think, about 20 or 30 of the audio programs left. If you're interested, I'll go back, I'll sign books, I'll answer questions, because I know there are a lot of questions still. If you're just willing to honor your own process and keep doing this, again, whether or not, I'm not a closer, so I'm not going to go into my sales pitch. But if you simply honor the truth of the fact that you're already whole, complete, and perfect as you are, I know a lot of you are already starting to experience that. This is just the beginning. If you allow yourself to continue going in this direction, it will get more and more obvious, more and more easy, more and more available to you. So let's just end with just a quick process, and then we'll be done. So allow yourself to focus inside. And again, simply notice and acknowledge yourself for the movement you've gotten this week. Not just from what we did together, but everything that we've been doing. I know there have been times we've wanted to run out of the room and not come back. And by the way, that's part of the way you know something's happening. But for a moment, could you acknowledge yourself or give yourself some approval or love just because you're still here? And could you allow yourself to welcome or relax into the love that you are? And if there's any part of you that's resisting or holding on or holding back, could you just let that go as best you can? And then again, simply relax into the love that you are. And could you let go even more of any holdback or any holding on any level as best you can? And simply relax into the love, the joy, the beingness, the peace, the perfection that you are. And could you accept at least the possibility that this inner beauty, this inner space, this inner stillness is always here, always now, supporting you in every way. And could you just rest? Relaxed in the knowing. That all is well. And you are whole, complete, and perfect as you are. And while allowing yourself to remain at rest, gradually allow awareness to expand again to what you believe is external to you. And whenever you're ready to, if you haven't already, allow yourself to open those eyelids.
You have reached the end of this disc, but there's more. Just go to the next DVD. To resume listening to this course on audio CD, please go to CD number 26.